Well, what can I say? I just this is I guess before the episode starts PSA to check which microphone your computer is recording your audio from. I just got done with a tremendous interview slash episode with HeelJosh. It's about an hour long, and I go to edit it, and I find out that the microphone is the internal microphone on my Mac. So I feel like the Shockmaster in his debut. It's just brutal. It's embarrassing. Uh, but I reached out to Josh. He said it doesn't sound that bad. He's just being nice. I reached out to Ty in Court. They say it's audible, but it doesn't sound great, which is the truth. It sounds horrible. Uh, but I think it wouldn't be fair to post the episode just because of me. Josh took the time out of his day to record and talk with me. So I am going to post it. This is what a good microphone sounds like. And then during the episode, you will hear what an internal microphone sounds like compared to the high quality that Josh has. So that'll never happen again. I will forever and always check which microphone is being used. So without further ado, enjoy my messed up audio and HeelJosh.
Welcome everybody to the Real Marks of Long Island podcast. I'm just going to be honest. We just recorded this. I had it on pause. So here we are again. My name is Justin Starr. As you can tell, Ty and Court could not be here tonight. They had a family emergency that they've been dealing with. So we hope that they will be back next week. I've been in constant contact with them, and spirits are as good as they can be for them. But have no fear. I have a tag team partner. I called in this man, and he doesn't need any introduction really. If you are a wrestling fan and you have social media, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, any of the social media platforms, you have seen this man's face. My man, HeelJosh, is stepping in to help me out tonight. Josh, thank you again. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. I appreciate you, asking me to be on. I love talking pro wrestling, so I was very honored to hear from you guys. On under the circumstances, unfortunately, I wish they were better. But much love to everyone, but I am glad to be here.
All right, so this is what I'm talking about with the PWN community as a whole. We're down and out right now. The trio has turned into a solo for now, and instantly I'm able to tag in one of the best in the social media game for the wrestling community. You're shaking your head, but it's true. So let's there's a lot of wrestling that happened in the past week without the episode coming out last week. So let's just dive right in. Bash in Berlin.
Let's do it.
I had mentioned that it was one of the thoughts that I had. I was wondering who they were going to end the show with, because if there's a Cody Rhodes match, it's most likely going to be Cody. But the circumstances in Berlin, right? In the hometown of Gunther, how could you not end it with Gunther and Randy Orton? And I think they pulled the right move. If you've ever played the WWE via GM mode, it always tells you to start the show off with a banger and end the show with a banger.
Yes.
Well, how can you not start it off with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens? My Lord, they put on a show. What'd you think about it?
Yeah, I think that was the right move with Gunther and Randy in the main event. Obviously in Germany, that just makes some sense. But yeah, I loved Cody and Kevin Owens. That was a fantastic opener. And like you said, banger for the opener, banger for the end. That whole card was just great. But on the opener, it was a great way to really get things started. And Kevin, obviously the dynamic with him and Cody, was he going to turn heel? Kind of. I don't know. He went to some extents, but he hesitated on a lot of others. But amazing match, great way to start Bash in Berlin to really set the tone. And for us in the US who are, some of us are still getting used to that. I'm not an early person. For me, it's 11 a.m. for that when it starts. So I am streaming, but that gets me going, but I'm still like, So that was a great way to really get my blood flowing,
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, it's been rough. But like, I love the international pay-per-views just because I love the crowd. The crowds are absurd, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before, where I wish the American crowds would kind of, take after the international crowds, but I understand why. It's because they don't get this so often, and when they do get it, they go all out.
They really do.
It's incredible. But I work Saturday, so I did have to watch afterwards. So I try to stay off social media, and then I was able to catch up. But it was funny. I did take German for one semester in college, so I actually understood a little bit of the chants. Like,
I didn't. I kept asking my chat. I was like, "Does anyone know what some of these chants are?" And I got different answers every time, so I didn't really know what they were saying.
Dude, I when it came to like France, when they were in France, I had no idea what they were saying. I was on Twitter looking to see if I could find a Google Translate or whatever, but I actually understood a little bit of what the German crowd were chanting, especially for the 1, 2, 3, which I thought was awesome. The crowd was electric all night.
Oh yeah.
But then we move right into Jade and Bianca versus the Unholy Union. Now, I mean, you can only have Jade and Bianca lose so often. So, like you mentioned with KO and a heel turn, if they were going to lose, I expected a heel turn from either Jade or Bianca here.
That makes sense.
Clearly we got them to win the titles back, so there was no heel turns. Were you shocked at all that neither KO or Jade or Bianca turned?
I do expect a turn eventually. I don't think I was shocked about Jade or like I was surprised that they got as much time as they did. I didn't think we were going to get like a 3-minute match, but I didn't expect, I don't know the exact time. I was a little surprised, and it was a really good match. I actually really enjoyed it. It was a good follow-up match to that opener. It wasn't too much, but it was just enough with enough, are we going to see them retain or not? It was really close because I did go in thinking Jade and Bianca were definitely going to win. That was how I saw it. I just didn't think if they do break them up, I feel that's a WrestleMania feud match, even for the first time match. And I think that's when that will happen.
Yeah, no.
Or like Rumble maybe, or like the end of the year or whenever. I don't know if they'll do it, how long they'll keep them together though, but I know a lot of people are clamoring for Jay to be solo right now.
Right. And it's like, because now that they have the titles again, it's like, what team is possibly going to take it off them? Like that. I like the way that they had them taken off the first time because it was a triple threat tag team match where anything can happen and there's multiple things. But like, if you have one team going head to head with them, like who's beating them right now?
Yeah, they obviously have a feud priming, which we'll probably talk about here in a bit. But I really don't know. Like off the top of my head, when I think of all the women's teams, even Pure Fusion Collective, I don't think they would be the ones. Like I just don't think right now anyone that's active would be.
Yeah, and so we have a lot to cover, so we're gonna kind of speed through this a little bit.
That's fine.
Yeah, and then we had one of my favorite matches. I think it actually might have been my favorite match with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I am repping my CM Punk shirt. Just the storytelling that these two gentlemen are putting on without a title involved is just hats off. It's incredible. Definitely. It's incredible work. I guess we won't go into Raw, but I hope that bracelet wasn't the real one. But
oh yeah, that would be painful for that fan. I mean, I think someone in my community sent the tweet of theirs like after all that went down. But yeah, she was like, get him, Punk. Get his
ass. I think she said like R.I.P. to the bracelet, and then I think Drew McIntyre actually quoted her and was like, cry or something. Like he is such he's such
his social media game is on another level. Yeah,
dude. Like ever since he started this troll game, like he is just on point with everything. It's incredible.
I actually got the Punk shirt, the WrestleMania main event, like RIP. I bought that because it was just so funny. I thought it was great. So I went to Mania and rocked it. So I was disappointed when what went down there. But
you went to Mania?
Yeah, I was there this year.
So we're Ty and Court. Which night did you go?
Both. I went both nights. I was section 120. So essentially camera side, but I was the row, second to last row. So we were right in front of the VIP boxes.
Next time we have you on, we'll have you talk to Ty and Court about that because I was supposed to
Yeah.
go. I just couldn't make it. It's a bucket list.
It's a
dream
tough
of
trip.
mine.
I'm gonna try to go next year, but it's Vegas, so I'm expecting it to be way more than last year.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm hoping I'm wrong, but it's just Vegas, so
yeah, no, I hear you. So obviously we get CM Punk, his first solo victory back in WWE in 10, 11, 12 years.
yeah, however long that's been.
And clearly, after watching Raw, this isn't done.
No,
So,
I mean they teased him moving on, but yeah, they're not done. Their match at Bash in Berlin was great. The strap match, I really like that they added the lights, like for the live audience as well, because obviously they don't hear commentary, so like commentary can like be able to remind them in the live. So that was great. I was like, that's more than likely for the live fans. That was smart. I loved that idea. So that was neat. But the match was great. It was really good, really enjoyable, brutal. A little blood there, so that was good to see a little bit of blood. I don't know if that was him cutting or if it was accidental, whatever, but it was good to see. I was like, okay, that made this feel more real because usually we don't get much blood in WWE, so that was good.
Yeah, and I know we'll get into AEW, but like the way that Hangman and Swerve are in that personal level,
yes,
that is,
and that's how Drew and Punk is, and it's fantastic.
Yes, exactly. And you need one of those. If there's no title involved, you need to sometimes push that line, especially if it's two of your top stars in the company.
And it's been amazing. They've been killing it.
Oh my god! Last night, oh man, and I'm talking obviously about Dynamite and how that finished. But whoa, we will discuss. We'll discuss that.
We're eating good as fans right now.
It's dude. It's the best time to be a wrestler.
It really is.
It's incredible. It's just night after night, and I'm gonna, I've been giving my wife some shout outs. Obviously, she's been a trooper ever since we got married. She knows what she signed up for. So she knows what she signed up for. She knows Tuesdays are now to her Joe Hendry night. Although she doesn't know he's not an NXT superstar. It's Joe Hendry night, Tuesday night.
Hey, he's great.
But the next match, we had the mixed tag team match. And me personally, like, I don't know where they're, like, I know obviously they have the grudge against Judgment Day, but calling them the Terror Twins, like, I don't know really where else do you go with that, like after this.
Yeah, I've heard that a bit from my own like streaming community, if I'm on YouTube and Twitch. Like I love the story, but like it's hard to believe, like even with Jay, like people are expecting Jay to possibly be part of the new Bloodline versus old Bloodline stuff, maybe by Survivor Series in a couple months. So a lot of people are like, well, where's it going to go? Like, who else can they put in? Because they're just so outnumbered at this point.
It's like even like giving them a name, it makes it sound like this is going to progress further than just the Judgment Day in a way. At least to me.
That's fair. I guess it was a name that they just used personally backstage to call themselves, I think, or something like that. I'm not 100% sure on what that story is, but it's something like that. There's just like I guess like the Click. There's just a name they call themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like after they beat, Dom and Liv, it's like once this feud with them is over, like are they going to stick together or are they going to go their separate ways? Is Rhea going to chase the title? Is Damian going to chase the title?
Obviously they're leading to Liv and Damian and Liv Rhea. I could see both of those happening in a Hell in a Cell, honestly, at Bad Blood. There's been lots of talk of that, like speculation, I guess, more so.
And it was a good
match.
After
that, I don't know. Who knows what they do with the Terror Twin stuff.
So, it's interesting to see where they pivot after that. But after that...
Good match, though, at Bash. I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was... Listen, I didn't know how they were going to go about with the 5-match card because I've heard people saying, like, oh, there's going to be too much filler time here and there.
This one didn't have that.
Not at all.
They did probably like their 3-minute commercial or whatever, like that you'd get on TV, 4-minute, whatever it is, and then it went straight into the video package. Same with NXT, which we'll talk about too.
Yeah, and I thought the crowd got.
And I was one of the biggest people like, oh yeah, they do all this filler. I was like debating people on Twitter like maybe a week ago about it. So I was one of those people, and so oh yeah, like I don't hate the 5-match card format. I just hated how much filler we seem to be getting lately with it.
I mean, listen, the crowd.
SummerSlam felt bloated.
Yes, no, SummerSlam was beyond bloated. But SummerSlam also was like if you're into the storylines, it was definitely like storylines finishing and storylines.
Yeah, I just mean like in between. Like we had the match, everything was fine there, but it was like all the in between felt so long. Like I felt like I could have made dinner in between every match almost for SummerSlam. It probably wasn't that long, but I'm exaggerating obviously, but it just felt long.
And then that leads into our main event. We had the Ring General Gunther. I butchered saying that, by the way.
I change the way I say it every time when I try that too.
the Ring General.
I'll put the G in the G in there every now and again, and other times I just do it like an H.
Versus the Viper, Randy Orton, and man, what a match! I mean, Gunther to me is, he's on another level right now, and
Definitely.
he's another one. It's like, just like Jade and Bianca, he's almost in that light right now where if someone's going to beat him, like, they better be ready, because after his like run with the IC championship and then Sammy beating him, like, I like where they were going with that afterwards, where Sammy came out, tried to challenge him, he walked away.
Yep.
Like, maybe he's afraid of Sammy, but other than that, it's like, who can possibly beat him right now? Like, he's just unstoppable.
Luckily, Raw is really doing great overall. I feel you have a great mid card, you have a great main event scene right now in Raw. You have actual like believable baby faces besides your top people too. So it's really good for Raw. So I feel like they could obviously build someone up within a few months if they really wanted to. That hasn't been in that scene yet. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of people will point to Ilya, who beat him in NXT UK. I think the only other person that I could think of off the top of my head besides Sammy was Braun Breaker on NXT beating him. So, I mean, that would be believable too, but obviously he's the IC champ now. So,
yeah. And so that's the whole card. I was just wondering, what was your favorite match? What stood out to you the most at Bash?
Everything, there was not a miss, in my opinion. I enjoyed every match. I remember just after every match, like, wow, this is really, really good. Because then obviously we had All In the week before. So it's like, some people like to, like, what did you think? I was like, they're both great. Like, that was just insane. Like, there's sometimes in WWE PLEs where there's like definitely like a cool down match. And I feel like they obviously set some up for that, but nothing felt that way. Everything came off as like, oh my, like, I was reacting big to every match.
Yeah. And that's what you want, like,
match of the night was KO Cody for me, for sure. That set the tone and woke me up. So,
I mean, it just, like I said, like, you have to start the show with the banger. And my lord, like, what's bigger than Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens and the possible heel turn that clearly KO was fighting in his head because he wanted to go after that.
Because it's just so natural for him to do. He's so used to it, and it's interesting on the whole leg thing that they did too, because Cody denied it and then they totally sold it during the match as it being a thing. So it was so intriguing to see him essentially live, maybe, which makes sense though, as it's Cody Rhodes and he wants to maintain that, like, I'm tough as nails. But whatever, it was awesome.
and clearly right now it's Thursday. This will be premiering on Friday. So tonight, hopefully, we'll see what happens with Cody. Will Cody have the limp on SmackDown? What's going to happen with
Good
Cody?
question.
Is KO? I'm just curious to see where that continues, because clearly they had the hug and they walked out together. But knowing KO is not finished, and KO is pissed off.
Oh yeah, he was definitely upset. I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah, SmackDown should be great.
So before we get into All In and AEW, we will finish off with WWE's brand. So let's go into NXT No Mercy, where you just told me you were live. So
yes.
First off, I want to hear how the crowd was. I want to know how the seats were. How was the action live?
So it was great. Like, so I got there basically right as doors open. I got kind of lucky when I got there and met with the guy that I was meeting there, and when we got in immediately, crowd was hyped, wooing and yaying, and we believe even before the show started. Anytime during the pre-show, because obviously they had the whole pre-show on the screen because they were like doing it in Stamford or whatever. Anytime they would do the Joe Henry stuff, they'd pop immediately, and it was good. I mean, the Ball Arena is a good size. I don't know how the capacity. They had the Raw was there the next night too. I didn't go to that, but they had the top for NXT wasn't like it was. I don't think it was tarp, but it was just darkened. So I don't think they sold that, but it was packed. Whatever they sold was probably sold out. It was fucking great. So What made it better though is right as I got to my seat, I was going through my Discord and people tagged me in a video. They used for the second time, used my Joe Henry reaction in the promo package against Ethan Page. Like they did Wrestle Truths, Santi's, and then mine again. And then I think they did a few others. But I was told that. And so I like watched it at my seat and I kind of popped and whatever. And then and I think a guy next to me, oh yeah, the guy in front of me was like, oh yeah, you're the one who did like the CM Punk debate, like debated the song, and then he actually came out. I'm like, yeah, that was me. And I was just like, because I was like, sorry, I was like watching myself. They were using my video again, and then they showed it in the arena twice, so that was pretty insane to be there and then to be on the screen. I just lost my mind.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was mad. I have to mark out about it. Sorry if you guys are cringing, listening or watching. If you're on there, you would mark too.
No, I mean, listen, if you're in your home, like that's like for me, like Madison Square Garden. So if I'm in the Garden, and all of a sudden I see my reaction up on the jumbotron, are you kidding me? I'm absolutely marking out. Like that is.
I even did when they showed it before the main event because I didn't even think about it because they did that on the pre-show and then before the match in the main event, I realized, oh, they're going to show the package again. It didn't click in my head until like right before I was about to start. And so I posted a TikTok, like me filming that part. And it just, when it cut to me and just me going, yeah, that's me, or whatever I said. It was funny.
Oh my God. So let's get started. So before actually I get into these matches, I want to be on record that for the past few weeks on this podcast, I have said that NXT is currently my favorite program to watch. And I don't know if it's just because, you never know what you're going to get with TNA. You're going to get Rosemary. You're going to get Joe Hendry. You're going to get, the Rascals. But it's just every single match they put on right now. It's like back in like the black and gold days. Like I would get so hyped for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, where you have Ricochet flying everywhere. You have all these guys just putting on these massive performances. Like what comes to mind is, just all the matches with Bayley and Sasha Banks. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting right now watching NXT. And it's currently, like I said, my favorite show. I cannot miss it live right now. I don't know how you feel about it, but NXT and Shawn Michaels, they are hitting on all levels right now.
So people will think I'm biased. I've always been very honest that my all-time favorite wrestler is Shawn Michaels. So I actually fell out of NXT towards the end of Black and Gold. And it's ironic because I really loved Karrion Kross, but I was already falling out before his reign even started. But once 2.0, I kind of got back into it. Tried to get back into it, couldn't get into it. Came back at the end of 2022 because I was going to go to Stand and Deliver for 39, and I got sucked in pretty quickly, like with Mello and Braun and Ilya, and like it just really sucked me in. And then seeing Chase U, I was like, okay, I hadn't seen them, and I know they're 2.0, but this is hilarious, like everything. And like you said, you don't know what you get, and it almost feels like back in the day as well, like with the Attitude Era. It's just so much variety, as well as it being developmental. There will be those matches where like, okay, this is so and so that we haven't seen much of. They're fighting this person who also we haven't seen much of. So you will see those developmental, those like newer people that they're really trying to bring in, that they're pushing from the PC, which is fine. So not every match is gonna be like a 5-star banger, but they are shot. I don't know who's doing the gimmicks or how they're helping finding gimmicks. They are nailing it in NXT for like the majority of the on-screen people. The only one that I have complaints about, just because I was there live, was Wendy Chu, because she got no reaction from anyone, unfortunately. But they're killing it. NXT, I would have to agree, favorite show right now, just because there's so much variety and everything feels natural. Nothing feels forced.
And with, you just said Wendy Chu, I feel bad for Wendy. I don't know if it's like you just said, like her, because she's had multiple characters and multiple personalities, and I just feel like none of them have truly hit home with the crowd. So
I feel like a negative of being always in the PC right now. Obviously, they went there. I mean, they were always in Full Sail prior to COVID. But I think a negative of being always in the same city for their weekly show is that everyone's they're super fans for the most part that are always going to be there for the most part, the majority of them. And they're always going to pop because they're always there. They're always interacting with these people in the lines or whatever, the meet and greets that they do in the local Florida area. Going outside of there, they are getting to see how they're connecting with the TV audience live. I think that's where the disconnect can come, because you're always in the same place for your TV, which is why I'm happy they are doing the CW first 2 tapings outside of the PC. So I think that's a plus. But yeah, I think that could be one of the reasons why there's disconnect with the live audience or the TV audience.
And then I just mentioned Wendy Chu. I love how now Rosemary and her have like a thing going on. It's just
That's a good way to help. Yes.
I mean, there's a way to help. It's putting her right beside Rosemary, one of the
I was
legends
surprised
of
that
TNA.
they used her twice now. Like, I mean, I was surprised first time, but I didn't expect her to be back so soon, like for a second match recently. So I was like, okay, let's go.
I mean, it's just you never know who to expect. Like,
Give me ABC. Give me ABC in that tag team title scene in NXT because they're another team that I loved. I've watched TNA here and there, so like when I see them, like yeah, let's go. But like, I feel like there's not a whole lot going on for them right now besides just keep going after the tag title. So I don't want them to break up either. So put them in NXT for the bit. Give me them there.
Exactly, and so like obviously we'll get into the Joe Hendry match, and how like I think it's awesome that Jordan Grace is about to have an open challenge on NXT, which is awesome. Who knows who's going to show up to challenge for it, whatnot. I want to see the Rascals win the NXT titles so bad.
Yes. I was very surprised by Wes's turn. So I got into TNA. I actually never watched. I would say I watched episodes, but I wouldn't say really focused into it. Like I really didn't get into it until COVID, which is weird to say. So people think I don't know much about TNA. No, I do. I kept up with it. I've been a wrestling fan since the 90s. I kept up with it. I just never really watched it. I would watch clips or whatever showed up on social media or whatever forums I was on at the time. But I never really sat down and watched it. And so COVID hit. That's when I started streaming on Twitch, and they were doing their 24/7 channel with their weekly episode on Twitch. And they would let people, what they called sidecast it, where you could stream it as long as you put the links and everything down in your panels or whatever. So I started giving it a shot every Thursday and streaming it with my community. And it was super fun because they were just obviously in COVID. So they were doing unique stuff. They did wrestle. Anyways, at TNA, I grew to love the Rascals because they were doing their treehouse segments starting then. So I really grew a big fan of the Rascals. So it sucked when West turned. So I was pretty bummed about it.
You felt that one.
I did because I was wanting to get that new jacket and everything. I was like, they just came out with the jacket. Or brought it back or whatever it was. I was so frustrated. And then one of my friends messaged me he's like, damn, with the photo of the jacket he got. I was like, they'll probably still exist just without Wes. And he's like, I guess, but damn.
Oh my God. Let's get into the card though. And like I said, I don't think there was a miss on any of these matches just because of how great NXT has been. We had Chase U. At this point, they won the gold.
Very surprised.
Yeah, so Chase U finally wins the gold with against Nathan Frazier and Axiom. And then, spoiler alert, we're not going to get into it much, but they lose it to Axiom and Nathan Frazier.
I have my reactions, so I did the whole, I filmed all my reactions and then edited them with the actual footage when I got home. So if you've seen my TikToks, that's what I usually do, at least when I'm home. So I have my reaction to Ridge. It is not PG. No. I didn't expect it. The guy told me, goes, get ready for the turn. I was like, Axiom just won. They're not going to turn. And then it happened. I was like, people are in the comments, it's not that deep, bro. I was mad.
It's not that deep. What were you more upset with, Ridge or the Rascals?
Honestly, Wes, yeah.
But so, I mean, what a short title reign for Chase U. Unfortunately,
it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's the plan that they have written out. And who am I to question what Shawn Michaels and crew have planned right now for NXT? Because like we've been giving them their praises, they are just firing on all cylinders. Yep. This next match was by far my favorite match of the night. Wesley, Zachary Wentz. Zachary Wentz's finishing move.
Yeah, it was like a crazy. It was like a springboard cutter, right?
Out of this world. It is one of the coolest finishers I've ever seen. Dude, when I tell you,
it looks like he's floating.
Dude, it's incredible. It's absolutely absurd. And when I tell you, my group chat with Court and Ty was like, that was the sickest fucking finishing move I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was awesome. The whole match was great. I just have to say, we all did laugh in the arena when the table broke on itself. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It's professional wrestling, but I mean, I like that they went through with it. Obviously, they knew what their spot was there, and they're like, all right, we're just doing
Yeah,
it.
and Wes just said, "Screw it, I'm gonna do it." He just dragged him and hit it.
But, I mean, just even with the Canadian Destroyer, that whole finish.
Yes, it's
just
so good.
Like,
yeah, that was definitely up there.
How was that match? Like, was that by obviously Joe Hendry's a cheat code, but other than Joe Hendry, did the crowd pop most to that? Like, did the crowd expect
honestly the first? No, because if I didn't, I don't think the whole crowd did. Maybe some did. I wanted him to win. I didn't expect him to win. So there was a loud pop for Wes. Got a loud pops on his entrance, of course, because he's Wesley. So, and there was throughout the whole match a mixture of Wesley and then TNA chants and Wentz chants. Sometimes it was hard to tell if it was Wentz or Wes, but it was a loud pop for the cutter, loud pop for the whole match. The last 3, 4, 5 minutes was really just loud. Same with the tag match. That was just nonstop, especially with Fraxium. They're just so insane with their high flying moves. So both matches were loud. And I even got a text from my fiance during the tag match, like, you guys are so loud. And I was like, it's loud. Trust me. Yeah, I know. Trust me. It's loud.
Hey, I mean, I'm a New York Ranger fan. When I watch them play the Colorado Avalanche, it gets loud.
Same arena.
I mean, yeah,
same arena.
They do the what's my age again? Ball arena. You guys know how to ball. Yeah,
that was awesome.
That's a good crowd.
That was our first PLE / pay-per-view since 2003. So
was it really?
Yeah, No Mercy 2003.
Holy crap!
Yep.
Wow.
So Booker and Vic started the show with like, this is like on the edge of the ramp, like in front of the ring, and Book went and he's like, the first pay-per-view in Twitter. Like they were going crazy. It was awesome. So like we could hear him, and they were just hyping us up. It was great.
That's awesome. Let's move on to the North American Championship. This is another man that they are just booking like he's a monster. You cannot beat him. Obafemi.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good match.
This guy, Tony D'Angelo, man, he, like you said, like when NXT 2.0 was starting, that's when you got the vignettes of Tony D'Angelo. And the running joke with Ranger fans was we just had a hockey player named Tony D'Angelo. And he was.
I think I might have seen those when that first came about. Yeah.
So we're like, we finally got rid of him. And for like the Ranger fans that are wrestling fans, we're like, now we got to deal with another Tony D'Angelo. God damn it.
That's awesome.
But, Tony's a great special talent. He's performed. He just had the Heritage Cup. He defended that up until he just lost it. But Obafemi, man, what a animal, what a piece, what a genetic freak.
As quick as he's showing up into the WWE, and they put that North American title right after he won the breakout tournament, and he's just match of the year contender at Stand and Deliver and that triple threat, and just continues to deliver. And this was a great match live. It wasn't as hot, I say, with the crowd, but it was still very good. Scary moment for Tony D though when he went down. It looked like he got his ankle like rolled or something. I missed it live, but watching it back, it looked like his ankle or something. But he kept pushing the ref away twice and continued.
I mean, he's a fighter. That's
yeah. I just remember the guy next to me went, "Uh-oh, I don't see the X," and I think I was like looking at my phone for a second. I was like, "Oh shoot!" So I missed it live. But yeah.
And then we have the NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez against Jada Parker. And I've been saying, Roxanne is gonna walk through all these opponents until we have Julia, who ends up debuting, and now they will be fighting for the title on the debut episode on the CW. Stephanie Vakir, and then I believe they just signed
Delta from Australia.
From Australia. My goodness, what a women's roster! It is absurd, and obviously now we have Julia, who, she's Julia. So unless we have some fluky, Roxanne gets some help to, cheat to win, I'm expecting that title to go on Julia, and then it's Julia's time with NXT. But then where does Roxanne go? Is it her time on the main roster? Is she ready for the main roster?
I think she's overdue for the main roster. I knew they said that the NXT champ. I think I might be misremembering because it's been a few months now from the draft. But I think when they did the draft, the champions of NXT weren't eligible or something. I might be misremembering. So
you're right.
I was surprised by that because I thought Roxanne would go then. obviously she was champ, so that didn't happen. So I think she's overdue for it. I think being heel really helped her promo game. I didn't really buy her as a face when she cut promos. I would tune out pretty quickly. Even though, unfortunately, there was a promo this year that I would rank very poorly with her and Lola as her as a heel, but that was what she's been doing lately has been better than that one promo. So
Yeah, and then obviously,
but match was great.
Yeah, listen, Roxanne can go. Jada has impressed me.
There was a split crowd. Jada won. Roxanne was a heavy favorite just by the live crowd because she's Roxanne, of course. And then, but Jada I was rooting for her. I'm not the biggest fan of Roxanne. I like her, but actually, it's a funny story. So last year's Wally Mania, just randomly, we were gonna go talk to Grayson Waller. We were in the VIP area, like line area, and so there were some wrestlers that kind of coming out of there by the VIP door, and they were just kind of hanging out. And we started noticing it. We didn't notice like for right away, but we went to go talk to Waller, and we didn't see. I think Roxanne was talking to, I want to say Nikita, who we had talked to before, but we didn't notice Roxanne there. She's small. We didn't notice Roxanne there. And my friend was in front of me. He's pretty tall, and I'm not the tallest. So we were walking, and like I guess Roxanne, like I don't know, she just took a step back. I don't know why, and bumped into my friend. And my friend was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he didn't realize it was Roxanne, and I did. And she didn't say anything. And so I always go, "That was Roxanne Perez. She didn't apologize." So I'm always like, "That's how rude," like just jokingly. But so I always like for my online presence, like use that as my grudge. Like, nah, I don't want Roxanne to win. She never apologized to my friend for bumping into him at Wally Mania. So I actually filmed a video of me shouting that to her. I mean, like I wasn't even close to her, so she didn't hear it. But
people don't forget. I mean,
exactly. It's just fun to bring up because people think I'm serious every time. I love it.
That's a great story. I mean, I'd run with it.
She probably never even won't know because she doesn't know that she backed into him. It's such a crowded fucking arena that we were in.
Let's move on to where I hoped we were going to crown a new champion. The main event, you had All Ego, Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry. I was believing. Everyone was believing. I actually thought maybe this is where we might have seen Josh Alexander walk through the door and help out his former tag partner, which didn't happen. Maybe we'll see that a little bit down the line. Maybe that's what they have planned for.
I hope. I love Josh, so I'd love to see him on NXT.
I would love to see the North get back together.
That'd be great, especially now they're both heels. So
both heels. Josh Alexander was doing great heel work on TNA.
Josh eliminated Joe Henry from the 6-man match at almost at SummerSlam Slammiversary. So yeah, there's ties to it all.
And that's why I thought I was like, all right, that can lead back into that because as much as I would love to see Joe Hendry with the NXT title, I don't know if they're going, if they would ever put it on him until he's under WWE contract, which I think Hendry's contract.
They didn't have any of his merch there either, so that's what kind of sold to me that he wasn't going to win. That they didn't even have merch. I was like, wow, I kind of thought they would at least have a shirt, but nope.
Yeah, so I mean,
I figured like maybe they would work out a small deal to let him sell some of his merch, but nothing.
Well, I mean, Joe Hendry has shocked me. He, just from his, I know he's a meme, but he's also a meme that can perform.
He's really good. He's
really good.
I haven't really had a match. That was probably my favorite match. I've seen just really his NXT ones and like the few for TNA since I've kind of been watching it again. But what I had seen, I was like, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. And I'm not the biggest Ethan fan either. I like Ethan's character work more than anything. So I wasn't expecting much. But honestly, this was my match of the night just because of the crowd. The crowd was insane this whole match. I don't know how it. I actually haven't watched the full match back on like the recording, but live that crowd was insane. It would go from like We Believe chants to like one section would be singing the song that he did from Tuesday prior, and then it'd go into some people saying ego, and it'd catch on for a bit, and then ego sucks. It was like nonstop, just chants. It felt like for 5 minutes to start that match. It was insanely electric.
And that's what you want in a crowd. You want that just back and forth. Like, have fun. You spent money.
And it was just different sections. That's what made it better. It wasn't like one big chant. It was just every section had their own thing going, and you could hear it if you were like in a certain spot. It was so cool.
And that is what it should be. That's what crowds should be. Like when I hear a dead crowd, it like actually like hurts me inside. It's like,
oh yeah,
you're not. I mean, obviously you can't get everyone on board with cheering, and maybe it's just some towns more than others, but when there's nothing worse than a dead crowd, especially when you're getting, great matches like that.
Yeah, but great match overall. I did wish he would have won, Joe, but overall it worked out great with Trick as a special guest rep, who also got great pop us chanting. But that Trick was fun as hell. But But yeah, it was overall everything played out well, like with the match ending, the way they sold it, the reactions from everything was great.
So we are at 40 minutes. We are going to go into All In, obviously, because All In London happened also within the past week. We're not going to go over every match because there was a lot of matches.
Yeah.
But for All In, what 2 or 3 matches stood out the most for you? Like for me, I definitely wanted to see in the Trios Championship match. I really wanted to see, obviously you had the patriarchy lose, but I wanted to see that heel. I wanted to see that turn from.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Lucha or Kill Switch.
Kill Switch. I call him Luchasaurus. He's forever going to be Luchasaurus for me.
Same.
Yeah, Kill Switch. I just can't get it. I can't get into it. So I was literally about to say Luchasaurus. I need that Luchasaurus turn on Christian more than I sometimes need like water.
Dude, I was so annoyed because obviously they lost the Trios titles in the opener, and then the Casino Gauntlet, he was an entry Christian and he sold the Trios match earlier. He was limping to the ring, and then they bring out Lucha as Lucha with the theme and everything, and he stares down Christian, and then he goes after, I don't remember who he chokeslammed or whatever. But I was so disappointed. I'm in the same boat as you. I wanted the turn from Lucha. Because how do you be treated the way Christian does and not want to beat his butt, beat his ass? How do you not? So it's frustrating. I'm like, I want to do it for you.
Yeah, and listen, like, I think Tony Khan, like, that was one of the, like, I was like, wow, that was well done. Like, everyone thought it was happening.
And that whole match was great. That Casino Gauntlet was amazing.
Phenomenal match. Like I said, that's the way the kickoff pay-per-views, like they did it right too. They send out all these.
I was surprised that they did the trios ladder match.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, the trios was.
It was very good though. But I was surprised that opened. I mean, the whole card was stacked, like you said though. So yeah. I mean, what else are you gonna open with?
But like I said, like I was like, all right, here it comes finally, and then he helps Christian win the contract. I was like.
And that was such a good swerve because I would have never guessed. Even once he came out, I didn't think he was winning. I never would have thought they would have went that route with it, and that was so smart. Everything. Ricochet's debut in that gauntlet was great. He flashed off a bit. Ospreay. The return of Nigel McGuinness was insane. I did not. I mean, there was lots of talk. He had said he didn't take him bumps, I guess, on a podcast I had recently, but that was insane. Him and Zack Sabre facing off. Okada. Like, so many dream things happened in that. It was amazing.
And you know what? It's all because Mariah May gave him a kiss. I think that kiss brought Nigel back. Like
Mariah, we gotta thank Mariah. Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Brought him back like 20 years, and all of a sudden he's
It really did. But then again, who wouldn't have felt that way if Mariah May gave you a kiss on the cheek or whatever it was?
I know. but speaking about Mariah May, I thought that match with Toni Storm was excellent. Obviously it was for the world championship and just the storytelling. Like I'm huge. Like, so we're the real marks of Long Island. I mark out over storytelling. When there's a story being told well, I eat it up. And the story between Mariah and Tony, just from the debut of Mariah May back
was great
months ago, all the way leading up to this, Mariah smacked her mom.
I lost my mind because I didn't realize. I must have missed when they showed her there initially, I guess, or whatever. So I didn't know she was there until she smacked her, and then they were like, "That's her mother." I was like, "What?" I didn't know she was there.
Dude, I was stunned. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, all right, you're really cruel.
I loved everything about the match at All In, the story leading up to it. I even popped for. Obviously, we all expected a turn. I didn't expect it as soon as she won the Owen Hart Cup. Like I expected her to win all that to set up the match. I didn't expect the turn that second. And when it happened, I was like, but the whole story. Her being Tony, the rock star version, everything was so good. I met her at WrestleCon this year as that. Like, well, she wasn't as that, but like she is just so great overall. Like she's just insane. Like she has, as everyone would say this, as I see, aura. She has that aura about her. Yeah, she just has it.
And even so now it's like because some people were saying that Toni Storm's timeless Toni Storm character was kind of getting stale. Well, now it
went on a bit.
Yeah, and now it's like, all right, because even her leaving the ramp and leaving the ring, she was kind of like, it's just Tony Storm being Tony Storm. She didn't know what she was really doing. She was cheering. She was kind of being confused. And now she's off TV for a bit. And now let's see which Tony Storm we get now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens when she returns. I feel like we'll get a rematch at some point. I feel like they don't do a lot of them, but AEW I feel like has gotten a lot better storyline wise. Not maybe for everything, but for a lot of it. It's not perfect, but like we talked about a little bit earlier, Hangman Swerve has been phenomenal. Like Drew and Punk has personal. That's been a great story. Same with Timeless and Mariah. So I personally think the stories have improved a lot in AEW, and it's getting way better. It's just women in general in AEW improved so much. Love it.
And now let's go into the guy that I absolutely can't stand right now, but he's doing it perfectly. The Learning Tree, Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Can't stand him, and I cannot stand the character. He's just an arrogant asshole that he's playing, and that's just what he does. He does it well. It pisses me off. I think it pisses everyone off. So you had him.
I still laugh at a lot of the jokes though.
Oh no, it's hilarious. But then it's like I just hate you. Like he's setting himself down to the ring like that. Like how more obnoxious can you get?
I just love how long he hesitates now after he like does the interviews, and then he just. I just wait so long now, and I love it. But no, it's won me over slowly. But yeah, I do get to the point where I'm like, okay, why are you on again? And then he says a few jokes. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But the match was fine against Hook. I only really popped for the end. Taz helping his son.
Finally, because you see all these matches and Taz that commentary, but he always like kind of just he never got involved. And then finally,
he just talked crap. That was it.
He finally got involved. He finally helped his son. The hug, the embrace, I thought was awesome. That was a great moment during the show for them.
Yeah.
I love that the London crowd, for some reason, loves Big Bill. I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Bill's actually been pretty good in this role because going from the Starks tag team, which was very popular, at least in the AEW community, to this, a lot of people are like, oh, really? But he's been pretty good at it.
And so... I'm just glad to see that title off Jericho back where it belongs in Taz's family on his son Hook. And then, we had the World Championship, AEW World Championship match. You had the three-way tag. Now, for me, and I don't know if I'm curious to see what your opinion is here. On the episode when we were previewing All In, I kind of said, the one thing like AEW has been lacking, which I thought they had tremendous over the past few years, was their tag team division. And, you're at All In, which is basically the WrestleMania for AEW. And then you think about tag teams, like these are the only three tag teams that ring a bell. Like these are like the three tag teams that like come to my mind that would fit the role of this match. Like
definitely
Party, like I don't think Private Party, has gotten to the point where they have earned a spot in like a championship match at All In. And then I brought up, Bullet Club Gold. Well, Jay White's hurt, and they're involved in the trios thing. It's like, who else would you throw in there? Like, if there's one thing that I would like to see AEW do, it's try to work on their tag team division, because it was a prominent point a few years ago.
I agree. I was like, wow, we're just gonna get FTR Bucks again, because they were doing this build up like who's gonna face the Bucks. And they did the whole draw or whatever it was. I don't remember if it was a time limit draw with them or what the heck they did. But eventually it was a triple threat. So I was like, okay. I mean, but it's basically the same match as last year's All In, just with the Acclaimed. But it was a fun match. It wasn't bad. I knew it would be good regardless. But yeah, I do think they need to work on their tag division. The only other ones that you didn't say that I could think of is the Outriders, and they're more of a comedy gimmick than anything. They're not really serious. So, and maybe Jericho and Bill, but I don't know.
Yeah, so that's literally like right now for AEW, that's like my only flaw to them. Like I think like what they're hitting a groove again. Like I think there was a little bit of a lull for them, but now they're finding their groove again. Like maybe we'll get into it. We're at 51 minutes, but like what's happening with Moxley and Marina Shafir? Like there's the intrigue. Is that bringing Shane McMahon in? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Are they going after the Elite? Like, they had the interaction with them last night, but it didn't really seem like he was hostile towards them. So it's like, well, where's it going then? So it is leaving the questions. So I really love where AEW is right now. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but yeah, they're finding their footing again.
And then just one of my favorite matches. You have two of my favorite wrestlers. I'm from Long Island, so I have to love MJF. And then
Yes.
Will Ospreay he's Will Ospreay. He is
My current
top
favorite.
notch. Yeah, he's currently my favorite as well. The guy does not miss in a single match. You cannot show me a bad Will Ospreay match. And I think he's proving people wrong with his in-ring promo skills.
Agreed.
I think he's taken that to a whole nother level ever since coming over to AEW full time. I think WWE, and I think they should have backed up the Brinks truck for him when they had the chance.
Yep.
Obviously, you had some words, from Triple H at WrestleMania weekend. Who knows?
That is what it is. I thought it was fun in the end.
Yeah, but what a match! The story that it told, perfect payoff, perfect ending for Will Ospreay in Wembley. How could you ask for more?
Yeah, and I love how they featured Daniel Garcia part of the story as well. I really love what they did last night with him, the great promo with MJF. So I loved that they had him involved. Obviously, I guess there's the story that he really lost the diamond ring or something. So they just kind of tied that with Daniel Garcia, which ended up kind of working out. But yeah, I loved everything about that match. That was definitely amazing. Not as insane as their first match, the time limit or whatever that was, but it was perfect, like you said, for Wembley. It was great.
And then we had Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné. I'm on the record saying that I have been a little disappointed with Mercedes Moné ever since her coming into AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the promos aren't hitting. I don't know what it is about her. I don't know if it's just the character. I don't know. Maybe the character work is just not doing it for me, or the character itself. Like, I like the boss, Sasha Banks, way more than the CEO, Mercedes Moné, with the CEO chant. And I don't know. I like that Camille is like her Diesel. I love that.
Yes.
I love that aspect. I love that aspect so much. Can't wait for that turn. That turn is going to be money. I cannot wait for Camille versus Mercedes Moné. But that match, it seems sloppy for me. It just, I don't know. It was just,
Britt
something about it.
Britt and Moné definitely was. And I see people bring it up on social media that AEW hasn't even really brought up that match to highlight the all-out match against Shida with Mercedes, which is an interesting thing to think about because they haven't promoted or talked about her win over Britt really at all. Besides, like, she retained. That's really all they've really said. And they more talked about her Momo wannabe match. So it makes me wonder if they felt the same. And I think Mercedes went on a podcast saying that there was things that she wished she could have changed about that match, but didn't go into detail. So I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I also felt like her promos kind of fell off in her, like, in the COVID years of WWE with her and Bayley. I one thing I hated was the laugh that she always felt forced to do, or if she did it herself, I hated that. But I feel like that same promo style that she switched to those years carried over to now. But some of the promos I've liked, some of them I don't.
And then we had Jack Perry, Darby Allin. Jon Moxley is clearly looking for Darby now, at least.
Don't know why.
I mean, but Jack Perry and Darby Allin, you have two crazy SOBs, and I thought the match was great, coffin match. I was a little shocked that Jack Perry won, to be completely honest with you. I thought maybe Darby would have went over, but that's just me.
I think that would have made sense because now they have Perry going against Bryan at All Out. And I mean, they can't have every match or every title defended again 2 weeks later on a pay-per-view, but it was a little surprising. They supposedly got their time cut because of, I don't remember what, but they supposedly lost some time. I think it was because like a Wembley hard out time or something like that. But the match was great overall. It was very violent. Like, it immediately just started with violence. Like, they didn't even wait.
Oh my God, yeah, I know. And but what would you expect with those two?
Oh, definitely nothing less.
But then we had the main event. We had Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson. Career versus title. What a match. Story, everything phenomenal. One of the best matches I've seen all year.
Yes.
The crowd was into it. You had Hangman come in to further along that storyline, which we're seeing now. And Bryan Danielson ends up winning. His career is continuing on until he loses that title. Phenomenal match. I thought it was a perfect ending. We are running a little short, so any thoughts on that match? I mean, it was spectacular.
Match of the year contender for sure. I didn't expect it to I didn't expect Brian to win. I actually thought he was going to call it. They really sold me on the neck stuff, and he's been still saying that he still really needs to have neck surgery sometime soon. So it's like if he's not working us, I don't know, because it's Brian. He's really close to the best on stuff. Sometimes I don't know. He might be even being honest here. Who knows? But if he does, he worked a crazy match because that was phenomenal, and I expected him to lose. I really did, but I loved it. My favorite part was him getting kicked in the chest, fully Crimson Mask. I love you so much. I love you so much. And then just reversing it and kicking Swerve. I like lost my mind at that. I was like, this is one of my favorite moments right here. Like I loved it. It sticks in my brain. I get goosebumps talking about it right now. I'm not even kidding.
It was, the match was incredible. I thought, overall, I thought All In was a great show. I thought AEW performed it, but now I'm a little, I don't like how there's All In and then All Out 2 weeks later. So
they set it up next year very well. I like how they're doing All In July next year.
Yes, that's much better. Like now it's like, all right, but now like I cannot wait to see this Swerve and Hangman match. It's gonna be.
I was worried because they had only announced 3 things for last night's Dynamite until like the last hour and a half, and then they started kind of pushing some things. But I was like, okay, like Jamie versus Robin, whatever. And then the show happened. I was like, okay, this is great. Like it was a great episode last night. So it made me more hyped for All Out than I expected to be. I feel this early. I didn't think I'd feel the hype until probably pre-show, and then they're like showing all the stuff. But no, I'm actually more excited than I expected to be at this point. I bought the bundle. I VPN. If you guys don't do VPN for the AEW stuff, do it. Trust me, it's worth it. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm ready for All Out. I'm hoping Swerve beat. I don't know. Kind of want them both just to beat the hell out of each other. So I want Swerve to beat, but Hangman is slightly justified last night for setting the house on fire because he stalked him, I guess, twice now, and went into.
Who's the heel? It's like they're both heels. They're both just.
I don't care. I just want chaos in this. What is now Lights Out steel cage? I guess it's an unsanctioned. Which I was like, does that even matter? There's no rankings or no rankings anymore. But yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a great pay-per-view this on Saturday.
But there's just so much wrestling going on. We just spoke about all that. Now we have All Out coming out. We have just so much going on, but we are running short on time. Josh, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining me as my tag team partner tonight. We will have you on the show again. Plug whatever you want to plug right now. Go for it.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitch and YouTube. I stream Monday through Friday typically for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, mainly those shows and the PLEs when those happen. As my name's HeelJosh on those, and HeelJosh on TikTok for all the reactions.
I mean, the guy's a legend. Thank you so much again. We will have you on whenever you want. Just come on. We'll have a fatal.
I'm a Yap King. That's why we only got to talk about those shows. So I'm down.
We'll have a fatal 4, between us 4. But thank you again. Thank you to all the listeners, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.